Welcome to the Featured Anime Podcast. I'm your host, Jack.
And I'm Rick.
And today we are watching or talking about The Demon Girl Next Door Season 2, which was a recommendation by the wonderful Magical Jeb. If you want to hear about the wonderful world that we were in, along with some wonderful facts, some might say, that have been brought to light, now, feel free to join us in our Patreon or join us for the pre-show. If you want to hear the pre-show, we do suggest you go to patreon.com/featured anime podcast. $1 a month will gain you access to that bonus content. Or if you want, you can also join us live on twitch.tv/featured anime podcast. We stream live on Mondays at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to get yourself some nice tasty treats along with some knowledge about Japan, you can use our affiliate link for Tokyo Treats along with coupon code Featured Anime. Get $5 off that very first box, and trust me, the treats are delicious, and the boxes every single month have a theme to them. So trust me on this, you'll enjoy them every single month. Blows my diet out of the water every single month, unfortunately. I mean, with all that deliciousness in there, how could I not, right? And if you want to help support us through other means, you can go to shop.featuredanimepodcast.com and buy yourself some swanky swag. And of course, for everything else, as to ways you can contact us and how you can submit episode requests and all that other stuff, you can go to featuredanimepodcast.com. And now onto the meat and brotatoes. The Demon Girl Next Door Season 2 came out in April 2022, ran all the way through July 2022. It's 12 episodes long. A couple producers for it are Pony Canyon and BS11. It is a studio of JC Staff. It is based off of a manga, and it is a comedy fantasy shoujo. Now, Season 2 basically is the continuation, exactly a continuation of Season 1, in which it gives you our main character Yuko along with Momo, and then you have a couple other supporting characters that are actually kind of sprinkled in. So Mikon is still there, Lilith is still there, and everyone else. However, Shion plays a little bit more of a antagonistic role, though not really in the second season. And then you're introduced to a couple of other characters like Liko, as well as you find out a little bit more about the background, as well as information regarding Yuko herself and how life really was for her when she was growing up, and the real reason why she was actually getting sick. This in general is an overall story that it inspires personal growth, as well as enlightens information and helps guide people through, while also providing a resolution for others and their traits and what's happening along the way.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fairly accurate assessment?
That's a fairly good synopsis.
Thank you. Oh, thank God. Whew, man, every time I ad-lib one of those, I really try my best for you.
I appreciate it. You basically encompassed everything that is good and just and worth watching in the show. There was a few other Deus Ex Machinas that happened to show up at the best times, but other than that, the show's cute. The show's good for what it is and fun, I guess would be a good way to put it.
Yeah, it is. I would say it's definitely a fun show. It's a cute show for sure. It is one that definitely makes you kind of, it's not like one you have to really, despite the synopsis, it's not one that you have to kind of really hardcore pay attention to. It's something you can have lightly play in the background. Even I did watch it in subs, but it is in English, so it is like that option is available to you should you want to watch it in English and just want to be able to enjoy it and just have something mind-numbing in the background while you watch it. I feel like this is a kind of a great show for that. With the main character Yuko still kind of being the exact same season over season. The only difference is that she does grow in strength a little bit, and the quirkiness of the characters I feel get amplified in this one. They do also poke fun at the viewpoints of Momo and how she is in regards to like, oh, she's not really a magical girl because of how she acts in general, but also at the exact same time, you're given the understanding that you're given the understanding that there's just no, I completely lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. I
A bit distracted.
I got distracted. If you're a Patreon and you go to our Patreon hangout on Discord, you'll see exactly why I got distracted. Anyways, Momo, despite the fact that she is a magical girl, she's not really like a magical girl, and you do kind of get more context overall about how some of the magical girls are and why they actually go after demons in general. So you're given a lot of information. You're given a lot of points to where, or not points, but you're given a lot of information. So that way it kind of enlightens people as to why demons are actually hunted and what's going on with them. And that weirdly enough, it's kind of like a point system where you get basically depending on how many points you get, which is how many demons you kill or destroy, I guess. You basically, if you rack up enough points, you can get any wish you want made, is how I understood it.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know if it's like a 1-to-1 ratio, but I do know that it is a oh shoot, what's it called? It's a when you hold someone to the same standard. Dag nabbit, I had it on the tip of my tongue and now it's just gone. It's not an accredited, it's not credit. It's basically you are held to be honest and not lie about how many were defeated, transplanted, foiled, and killed. And again, I don't think it's a 1-to-1. I think it's a, hey, I need you to go take care of this. How did you take care of it? You're awarded points based on how well you did, how well you could have done, and how we think the best choice, what the best choice was, if you chose it or not.
Okay.
So it's very convoluted and very, very left to the imagination.
Yeah. Yeah. They definitely don't go into the details, and you are given kind of information in season 1 that the Light Clan are mediators as animals. However, they're not as prominent or strong as they once were, at least in their ethereal form. Yeah. So I don't know. The whole thing in general was just kind of, it was interesting to see. They definitely leaned, I feel like in this one, they definitely leaned more into comedy on this one than they did anything else. And they definitely I feel like they had a lot more fun with it. Like there was a lot more entertainment to be had in this one.
Oh, they were definitely far more playful. They focused more on the cutesy side of it than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. But also at the exact same time, like when you're introduced to the manager and Liko for the shop, having those extra characters that are entered in there and the interactions with with those characters and how they move about, go about, and everything having to do and revolve around them. I feel like it really kind of leveled up the show to that point to where it was more comedic, because Liko and the manager in general helped a lot of it out along the way, and the reactions that the characters got from Liko when she would do something was always funny. It's like, oh yeah, no, totally, my food gives amnesia style effects. And then you have Yuko, who's eating a bunch and
waste not one,
right? And then you find out, well, if you eat a little bit, it only causes a small amount of amnesia. However, it's like only because you're stressed out, it helps basically you forget what's stressing you out and worrying you. However, for Yuko, she's eating a whole bunch of it and she's completely in a daze, can't remember anything, or it's
she's
like
almost relaxed.
Yeah, and spaced out.
She doesn't remember her job.
She doesn't remember her job. She doesn't remember much else. And then the manager's like, whoa, what's going on? And then Liko talks about it, and his reaction is like, what? That's not right. We shouldn't be doing that. Oh, it's fine. It's not harmful. It's like, that's not the point, Liko. The point is you're causing people to forget. And it's honestly easy to see why people would love to go there and be addicted to going there. Cause it's like you go there, you eat, you eat delicious food and you forget your problem, bro. For you and me. Woo, I'd be 500 pounds.
Go there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Oh my goodness. It's honestly one of the best things, right? In terms of the character interactions is the fact that they have that kind of interaction. The fact that they have those funds, that kind of fun it just makes the show that much more enjoyable. So I enjoyed season 2 actually far more than I enjoyed season 1, simply because it held my attention better. But also, it was a lot more lighthearted and a lot funner.
You know, I could see that. And the only reason I think they were able to go that route is because they already did a massive amount of world building. And yes, while season 2 definitely has a continuation of the plot, I promise I can talk. While season 2 definitely has a plot and a storyline to follow, because they already laid the foundation and because they already have antics to play off of that they've already introduced, they're able to have far more fun. Rather than explaining how things work, you can kind of bounce back and forth between the antics. And I noticed that our main character is it's not a regular main character. They played into, and I know I'm probably going to get this wrong. I hope not. The Tsundere, is that the kind of character she is, a Tsundere?
Tsundere?
Tsundere, yeah.
You're talking about like Momo?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. 100%.
I'm not used to seeing that in a main character. I'm used to seeing that as a side character towards the main character, but she's like that towards everybody. She's very hostile and hard and rough around the edges for like 10 seconds at a time.
Yeah.
And the rest of the time, she is just this gooey glop of goodwill in demonic form to be molded by everybody around her.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing is, it's also she's like very rigid, and until you get to something that she likes, and then that's when she's putty. That's when she's able to really kind of like show her colors, but then at the exact same time she denies it too. So like when she's being quote unquote bribed, with a main character or whatever it is, and then like keeps going through like for schoolwork, right? It's like, no, you can't do this. No, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I don't care about this. It's like, oh, what are the perks for the VIP tickets? Oh, you get to pet a tiger. I'll do my homework then. It's like, all right. Well, there you go. And I like that it stays true to how she is, right? She's like, no, I'm not a fan. I just happen to be wearing this stuff, or I happen to do this, or I happen to that, or pick your flavor. She stays the course. She maintains that she actually is a huge cat lover. And
yeah,
I'm glad that they didn't like make it a single note thing where it was like, oh, just anything, this cat thing over here. And immediately it's like, no, it's like pretty ingrained for it to where she's at like, oh, there's no cats around us here at school. So I make a club to have us be surrounded by cats because that's what I want. Also, may I point out, I think it was also in season 1. This is the only show where I've noticed anyone ever wearing Crocs. I've never seen Crocs in any other anime. I've not seen Crocs in any other anime, and they were wearing Crocs in this one.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see you having some notice there, let's say. I didn't notice that at all, to be perfectly honest. I noticed that it was very food centric this time. I noticed that in this particular season, it's far more gimmicky. Granted, I enjoyed it more because of it.
Yeah.
I thought that it was quite endearing, and it did. Originally, of course, you had good and bad. Flat out, it was there. And then you find out that in season 2, it's really not all that cut and dry. I mean, it wasn't that cut and dry to begin with either, because she was a lovable demon. She just, it's one of those, there's a short comic of a demon who is cute and cuddly in hell, trying to torture people. And just failing horribly, and they're like, "Are you?" And the result is almost always, "Is it scary here?" And they're like, "Well, not really. It's bad, but it's not scary." And then you have this little cute demon, roar. Is it scary now? And they're like, "Oh yeah, it's much scarier. You did a good job." That kind of thing. And that in my mind translates here, where she's not really doing a good job at being bad, but everyone around her is like, "Oh, you're trying," which is all that matters.
Well, she was like that. She was like that in season 1, right? So it's
but here it goes to like a fork as being a super bad thing, and then the the really, really bad joke about being a forklift demon. She's got a fork.
Yeah, but I'm saying like the food centric, like it was always food centric. They just didn't make it as comedic like they did in season 2. They went for more of the comedic route. Like, for example, Momo bought a whole bunch of red meat, took it there and took it to Yuko's family. And they're like, "Oh, kids, come here. Let's look at. Oh, thank you for allowing us to look at the meat." And Momo's like, "No, I didn't come here to show you the meat," because they were all happy and ooh and nod. It was like, "Oh, we get to see this meat," and it's like, "No, I bought it for you to eat, so you can eat." Oh my goodness! So, like they went the whole 9 yards basically on that for the food comedic effect. And
now what I did notice,
no,
sorry,
go ahead.
So what I noticed here was in the past, or in the last episode, I made a remark as to who the narrator might be, and in this one it was confirmed essentially in my mind that the narrator is essentially the daddy box.
Right.
And it makes me concerned on how strong the dad actually is. And like everything in this anime, it's very loosely based in my mind in give and take. Equal parts give versus equal parts take. And how strong must the dad have been for something to be right for him to be in a box for the rest of his life?
Well, we don't know that he's going to be in there for the rest of his life, but also at the same time, you have to remember that in season 1, we were told that he was old, like he's from the Mesopotamian era. So, and that I mean, like, we know that he was old. He's been there for a really, really long time. You can only assume that he's garnered enough magic or is powerful enough to be able to whatever. However, beyond that, we don't have any information. We don't have any answers, so to speak.
Fair enough. He's very lighthearted for being so old. He's incredibly lighthearted, very happy, and very jovial.
Well, so I mean,
maybe he's a trickster demon of sorts.
They're a succubi demon. They've said that multiple times. So like that's their lineage. That's their line. And her mother's human. So she gets the demon portion from her dad. And if her ancestor is a succubi and keeps saying you're a succubi, this is our power, this is what we do, I can only assume that he's a succubus. There is no rule. Now, while it's never really ventured, so to speak, in lore that there's male succubi, there's nothing also specifically saying that there can't be a male succubus either.
That's understandable. That's fair. Depends on who you go with and which genre you go under. But now I'm curious, if he's so old and from Mesopotamia, how much older is the ancestor?
Same age.
I only think the ancestor.
I would say the same age.
Okay.
I think she said 5,000 years.
Yeah. See, I just
because she
that,
also references the Mesopotamian era, and then she got sealed away around that same time frame, and before she even had any real power to speak of. So we got more background on Lilith. We got more information on her in general, and so we know that she's been there. So yeah. So we got more information, more power, more answers in season 2 about who Lilith is, about. Yeah. Not so much about Yuko's father, but you get more information about Momo, more information about Momo's sister. You get more information about Mikon. You get information about why Momo was so unhealthy. You get all this information about everyone else. So you get a lot of answers in this one. Like season 1 was like you had said earlier, right? It is the world building. It laid out that foundation. This was now putting the house on that foundation, right? Now we're starting to see what all that groundwork being laid out was for. Yeah. And they had fun with it, which was nice. It was very light. I know I've already said that, but I have to go back to it. It is not only lighthearted, it's fun. And I can't recommend this one more, to be perfectly honest, because it's not my cup of tea. I'd like to point that out right now. It's not what I would normally watch. As one of our listeners and one of our Discord mates, let's call him, says, not enough TNA to get a 6, as CJ would say. Yeah. But or a 7. or a 7 as a baseline. But this one, it was very cute and very wholesome. That's the better way to put it. It's wholesome. There wasn't much in my mind action. Like I wasn't on the edge of my seat. There was thriller. There wasn't much thrillingness going on. There was a lot of confusion, a lot of I was going to say it shouldn't be. It was never portrayed or touted as that. It was touted as a fantasy comedy. It's like yes. But was it a fantasy and comedy? Yes. Was it? It's not action adventure. It's not listed as action adventure. It's not a shonen. Yes. All right. Well, they do have some fight scenes that could have been far more intense and just. That's nice. Not what it's geared towards, though. That's not the thing. It's like, there wasn't enough action in this for me. They should have had more action. Well, I mean, like, I can understand if you were saying it like that for like Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, Bleach, literally anything else that is action oriented. Comedy, fantasy, magical girls, fun, lighthearted, slice of life esque type show. Not enough action. It's like I thought that. You know why I thought that? Why? Because around episode 4 to 7, I was drawing similarities to Bleach, and I'm like, it'd really make this better for me. Action? A good fight scene. A good fight scene. Yeah. No. This is Bleach did this. Bleach did that. Right. This is not Bleach. It's certainly not. This is not an action anime. As I said in the beginning, it's a comedy fantasy shoujo. So keep that in mind. It is a comedy fantasy shoujo. Just to kind of throw that out there again. With a tsundere main character. Yeah, it's like saying, Blend S, right? You remember Blend S, the cafe whatever type show that we did? Yeah. Yeah, it's like saying there wasn't enough action in that anime for me. All right. I mean, not an action anime, but okay. Goodness. Fair. I am holding it to a different standard because of the similarities I was drawing, I'll give you. But at the same time, there was a few things in there that were just unbelievably hilarious. Like, yes. This all-powerful weapon turns into anything and everything you could hope to find
or hope to use for in a cylinder fashion. And the mom was like, "Hey, you found my old clothes hanger."
Oh.
No, the fork.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was gonna say the mom was like, "Oh yeah, your dad used to have that, and we used it to dry our clothes with." I'm like, "Oh God!" Using an all-powerful the item that no one can remember the name of.
Yeah.
And using it to dry your clothes.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
The real question is, why not?
Yeah. Well, the real question for me is, what makes this city so dang special that not one, not two, but three magic girls whose I'm not going to say most of the driving force between the magic girls are accruing points and getting their number up. What makes this city so special where they're like, yeah, we're going to save all the demons?
Well, it's not that, right? And they do clarify in the anime as well that like a lot of them really don't care about it too much anymore, and a lot of them want to be on friendly terms. However, there are some that don't, right? And they do point that out, right? They do point out like not everyone is like that. That is not that it is not uncommon, but it is not super common, you know, for them to be like that. Now, the reason why there's two there, Mika and Momo, is because Momo's father or sister, adoptive sister or whatever, right? Took her, raised her, and made her who she is today. And so when she disappeared, she came back to try and help and find her. And that was the primary force for her coming back. She doesn't really care too much about it. And she even says to Yuko, keep in mind that not all magical girls are like that. And so Sakura specifically designed the barrier around the city, the magic circle for the city, to make it so that demons and magic girls would never cross paths at all. And that the only reason why that they were able to is because of certain plot devices.
I was waiting, and I'm like, okay.
Certain plot devices.
Because
of plot devices.
Of plot. Fair enough.
Because of plot. Yeah, and that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm not. If you want to go into more detail, Rick, you are more than welcome to. But that's where I'm going to leave it. I will leave it.
Yeah, I'm not going to go too much further into it because I fear I wouldn't do it justice.
Yeah, it is how they broach the subject. Answers like 2 to 3 answers several questions all at the exact same time. When you get that answer,
yes,
you get answers. You're like,
you get a much clearer picture.
Yes, yeah, and so not just
enough, it does answer like multiple questions, multiple lines of thought are resolved with
one thing,
literally 1 or 2 scenes.
Yes, exactly. And that's why I kind of don't want to broach the topic. That's why I don't want to really talk about it, is because you do get those answers. It's like, why this? Why that? Why is this? Why is that? And then you get the answers and they're like, oh, boom, because of this, boom. And then you're like, oh. And then a light bulb goes off. It's like, damn. So anyways.
Yeah. It's a domino effect. If you're paying attention, it knocks most of them down.
It does, which is a good thing. It's a great thing.
Yeah, it does what we all. It answers the questions you really want to know, and the questions that linger. You're like, I really wish this would resolve, and then they do, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
okay, I can see why they did that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I don't have too much more I could really say. What about you, sir?
I think I'm just about there.
All right. So on a scale of up to 10, sir, how would you rate this?
Solid 8.
Solid 8?
Don't even have to question it. Solid 8 for me.
All right.
It's cute. It's lighthearted. It's exactly what you're hoping for.
Okay. I totally thought you were going to go lower from how you were talking earlier in the show. But,
I don't, it's not my cup of tea. It's not the genre that I would choose first, but I can't be mad at what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I get you. I understand. For me, I gotta go with you on this one. I gotta go with an 8. It was a lot better than season 1. That is for sure. I will definitely, I would definitely recommend it. I would say definitely recommend them as a pair, right? Not separate. Mm-hmm. Like I would recommend it as a pair. It is a good watch as a pair. And how they end season 1 is exactly how season 2 begins. And they give you a little bit of a background just in case it's like you don't remember. They give you just enough so you understand why they're in that exact spot. So it does it well. It does it justice. So yeah, 8, double 8. 8 for me, 8 for you. Next week's choice is your choice, and you decided to go with Solo Leveling.
Solo Leveling.
Well,
yes, I've read the book, and I am genuinely curious what the adaptation will bring, what it looks like.
Yeah, it is really good. It is closer to the manhwa, to the webcomic, than it is the book, I believe, from what I'm told.
Oh, okay.
So I believe it's closer to a real adaptation of that, is from my understanding of it. I've books too, audio books for me personally, but that's just me. But anyways, well, that's all the time that we have for today. But before I wrap things up in my normal way, I wanted to give a little bit of a shout out to a couple of people that did respond and give us a little bit of feedback on a couple of episodes. So on episode 36 that came out back all the way in 2019, on Spotify, you can give a little bit answer like a little Q&A or give a response to the episode in general. Eve said, not a card game. Obviously, the anime is not a card game. However, as Rick and we were both talking about in the pre-show, I would love more details like on that, like elaborate more, like please email us featuredanimepodcast@gmail.com. We have contact form, all this wonderful stuff you could go through and do and reach out to us. Like give us some more information. Give us a little bit more than that, because from the information that I know of, the information that I saw from the research that I was able to find, it's based off of a browser-based card game. That's all I know, right? Like I don't like if it's not like I would love more information. Just give the information. Let it wash over us. Let me know. That's what I ask. So Eve, if you're listening, if you decide to ever listen to us again, give us a little bit more feedback. I would very much appreciate it. We got some feedback from Juan Felipe Torres for Buso Renken. It was awesome. It was awesome. It was definitely a fun show. That is for sure. It wasn't a great show. That is for sure. It had a lot of faults. It had a lot of bad, but it was whatever. And then Busto. Okay. Anyways, and as for Chainsaw Man, Miku said they liked how absurd and random the show is, and yet it's a really thought out story. Exactly. It is a great story. It's very well done. If you all want to give us some feedback or anything like that, please feel free to do so. We have all that information available out there to you guys. You can let us know on Discord. You can reach out to us on Twitter or X now. Anywhere, honestly, anywhere. We're going to try and make sure we're available anywhere or everywhere. But the best way to get all that information and figure out how to contact us, get a hold of us and all that stuff is at featuredanimepodcast.com. Or in the show notes. I mean, like we have all this listed out there too. So you have to just both. Both. But if you want to hear the pre-show that we usually do with every episode, along with hearing some interesting tidbits and get a part of that wonderful conversation that happens in the Patreon Hangout on Discord, you can go to patreon.com/featured anime podcast. If you want to get yourself some nice tasty treats that come every month and they fill your belly with goodness, Tokyo Treats, use our affiliate link for yourself and then use coupon code Featured Anime to get $5 off that first box. And trust me, those treats are worth it. If you actually want to watch some anime and get yourself some, help support us in another way, we do have an affiliate link for Crunchyroll to the streaming service. If you click on that link, sign up for service, we get a little bit of a kickback. It is very much appreciated. And guess what? Guess what's on Crunchyroll, sir? It's solo leveling. So you know what?
Solo leveling.
There you go. What better way, what better time to sign up for service using our affiliate link than right now to watch it with us. And if you also want to help support us through other means, you can also go to shop.featuredanimepodcast.com and buy yourself some swanky swag. We are starting to retire some of the older merch, and we're going to start coming out with some newer merch, and we're going to broaden the selection, broaden everything that's on there. So if you want to get some of that older merch before it goes away, feel free to do so. If you want to help support us like that, that is, again, it is very much appreciated. And until next time, I'm Jack.
And I'm Rick. And we'll see you next time.